Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good evening, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you are in the world. Very excited for you all to be here and chat. For those of you on any of the other social media platforms, I am live on Twitch as well. So if you're struggling with the stream, don't be afraid to come on over to Twitch. Uh, Pretty easy to find. Twitch Synth Reality is the name. It's also commented on the posts, so always excited for you guys to be here and chatting with us today. Got an interesting topic that we're going to talk about. Very, very interesting. Always a good one. We're going to be talking about what the NBA released, or what they demoed for some of their for their audiences, which will be a pretty cool experience, I think, if it all goes well and actually gets put into production. Um, but for those that don't know, I am Rob Petrosino, futurist technologist, overall great guy, and here to enlighten you on the synth reality tech talk about emerging technologies, applications, use case, so that you can walk away and be a thought leader. My role and my job is always to inspire others to not only research technology but also implement it within their companies. And I'm here for you. So if you have questions, always feel free. You can come in and chat. Mona, thanks for hopping in on LinkedIn. Appreciate that. Good to see you as well. Anyone on Twitch, anyone on YouTube, if you guys have questions, comments, thoughts, or anything like that, feel free to drop them in the chat. It's nice to chat as always. Cool. With that, we're going to talk about the NBA and what they released. So just a couple days ago, they released a pretty cool NBA app experience that might be coming out soon, maybe, but we're going to dive into it and review it, talk about some of the technology that is parent. So with that, we're going to head on over to the screen share. All right, so we're just going directly to the NBA Twitter. So on the 17th, really, really interesting experience that they launched. It's pretty well done as well. What they did is they brought Ahmad Rashad out on stage, and they are going to make a one-to-one volumetric capture of him so that they can put him inside of an NBA game. So the cool part is you're actually going to see the commissioner here. He's going to take a volumetric capture, on device directly, and scan him using LiDAR. So what this actually is a LiDAR volumetric capture. So you can see the mesh that's being generated. You can see that it's slightly off in this head region because that portion of the body has not been scanned, but you're actually getting the arm in here meshed out fairly well. It looks like our commissioner is using a LiDAR enabled device, like a newer iOS device. And as he moves around this figure, he's going to make a one-to-one digital capture of that, a volumetric capture. So what you're actually seeing is light detection, LiDAR sensor on the iOS device. So if you have an iOS device, it's actually on the back of the device here. It's also used on the forward-facing camera of the device too. And what they actually are able to do is pinpoint a specific pixel in space with its color as well as its latitude, longitude, and altitude. It's the easiest way of thinking about it. What it is it's able to return depth and understand depth and occlusion of objects, right? So what's happening and how it's happening in space. So as we watch this mesh get generated, this arm is not scanned yet, so it has this kind of extension of the mesh, while in here we see that it's cut out because this is already a scan portion. Now, what we can be looking at here is a little bit of movie magic. Well, Rob, how do you know it's movie magic? Well, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But the mesh that is being generated here on device is pretty standard. What's nice that they didn't cut out of this as well, or didn't change those in this experience, is you're getting a true iOS level mesh here, right? So you're getting about 10 or 15 feet of floor detection, plane detection on the device, which is built in onto iOS, and is able to be seen that that's the type of sensor that they're using, and it's able to see that it's pretty standard out of the box. So as we get this refined mesh, it's pretty well done. And then the hard part is he moves there. So let's just recap this movement, because he should not have done this while doing scans. How do you know this, Rob? Because I've done scans of people before, and when they move, it's not great. So what you want to watch is he's still, when he moves, see how this mesh gets interrupted and changes. If this actually was live, we would have mesh disruption on the output side, because we haven't finished volumetric capturing what this person looks like. So because of that alone, we're going to run into some issues if we use this in post-production. Okay. Now, he puts his arm back, the mesh reformats, but you would have to move around again, even that lean down and that type of stuff as well. Now the good news is that yes, you get in about 30 seconds or so what an accurate mesh would look like, and the app is closed, and they now start to talk about what the future of the NBA may look like. So what they're going to do here is go into a highlight or a replay and allow themselves to be pasted into the experience. So here's Rashad here. Here's his scan, his avatar that was generated in a minute or less. In theory, that's a bit harder than that time frame, but not bad overall. So he's going to have his mesh here, and now he's going to select a specific player. So what he's going to do is go on down to Horton Tucker, which is this character here, this player here that is going to be turned into a character, which is pretty cool as well. So when that character, the player is selected, what we're actually going to wind up seeing is that this is now able to be transposed, allegedly, in Movie Magic World and overlaid with a digital avatar. Now, what they're going to do in this case is what they've been testing for a long time. So many NBA teams have been testing what's called volumetric capture. Okay, so they've just changed now from Horton Tucker to Rashad, and what they're going to do is use the skeletal frame of the actual player to animate the avatar that's going to be overlaid here. So we're using some digital twin methodology. I have a digital twin of Rashad. I'm going to place him over the top of Horton Tucker. Horton Tucker is actually going to continue to quote unquote play. This would be most likely used on a replay, but could be implemented live. And what they're going to do is they're going to use that player as a means to animate the player. So you could see him running, see him interact with the basketball, and going for the dunk. Now, let's watch some of the things that happen in this replay. So the first thing that you're going to see ultimately is that the player looks a little bit like they're running on top of the court, not on the court directly. That's just animation work. That is volumetric capture. You have a little bit of what we call like a floating layer that sometimes causes an issue. Okay, now you're going to get some motion blur. This isn't the clearest video of this, but it's pretty good. It is well done. And it's really, really interesting that they're able to overlay this. Now, what I do like is that they've cut and animated and brought him into pretty much every aspect of this. And it's well done. The motion tracking has to be done on the backside of things. Hey, I appreciate that that follow there. Surprising, dude. Appreciate you coming in and checking us out. So if you've got any comments or anything like that, feel free to drop it in the Twitch chat. For those of you that are on different platforms and you're getting a bad stream, come on over to Twitch. It runs perfectly. I agree, Ahmed. It is 100% pre-made. This is, animated then laid over the top for sure. One of the reasons that you're most likely seeing this as pre-made is just the lighting texture changes on Rashad's shirt. So as he goes up, you get in this like really, really impressive lighting change on the shirt. That is typically done in post. If this was live, it most likely was not a one-to-one capture, but it is still well done, right? Now, the other thing that you get is you get Rashad mimicking facial expressions of the actual character, of the actual player, Horton, on the court, Horton Tucker. So he actually, in the second loop here, you see him stick out his tongue, which again is a very good key indicator that this was not done live. You're not going to get fine detail facial recognition on top of realistic visualizations on a live stream, so it's got to be done in post. Again, very, very impressive technology, but one thing that the NBA has been playing with for so long time is volumetric capture. He's also got some pretty impressive muscles that they actually call out. The commissioner calls that out as well. He says he looks like you've been working out. The interesting thing is that the NBA has been testing out volumetric capture for a long time. So between all the NBA games and some of the practices, volumetric capture is the idea of motion capture. So instead of having to wear my sensors on different parts of my head, hands, body, when I move around or interact, I can actually do it all through photos, video cameras, and LiDAR sensors. So if I'm using both of those, I don't actually have to do mocap anymore, and I can just do the volumetric capture, which is that one-to-one. Now, what's interesting is if you start bringing that into a setting like an MMA cage, it's very easy and tight and small area, so the volumetric capture can be more accurate. Meanwhile, a basketball court is obviously significantly larger. So because of that larger aspect of it, it gets to be a little bit tougher for volumetric capture. That is just one of the pain points of volumetric. There's a bunch of others. This technology has been around for a little bit, but is not readily deployed across a lot of different areas. So it is one of those things that is definitely still an emerging technology. Now, there's two different types of volumetric. There's volumetric that's just done through video/photos. Okay, that would be photogrammetry. And then true volumetric capture can also be done with a LiDAR enhanced reading. That LiDAR is that pinpoint of distance and depth from a camera, so a more accurate representation of a real world character. So that is the NBA AR experience that's coming to the NBA app. Digital overlays into actual real world experiences mapped directly to a digital twin. So digital twin, one-to-one copy of you as an individual. They're going to overlay that into a character who's been rigged, and a player who's been treated like a character in a game who's been rigged and animated, and then you're going to be able to overlay your skin directly on screen. So interesting things, really, really well done. Impressive how they set it up and what they are looking to do related to this. However, still a significant distance away from being real world applicable, where I can take my digital character and watch myself play directly. Hey, thanks returning. I appreciate it. Thank you for the follow. If you have questions or anything like that, throw them in the chat. But impressive when it comes to how they set up the experience and how they animate it. I like the player selection aspect where I can toggle back and forth and select a different player, but this is really the next generation of entertainment when it comes to these types of experiences. So with that, we're going to pop off cast today. A quick one showing one experience directly, but still really, really important and valuable. Well done overall as well. And this could be 100% applicable to pretty much every entertainment, sports entertainment area around. So really, really well done. The reason that MMA is such a easier aspect of this is because the cage itself serves as a smaller boundary box. When that smaller boundary box is created, it's easier to create that LiDAR capture in 360 degrees, which then enables you to digitally overlay yourself as a character much easier. Now, we're going to pull out and chat about what some of these rigs look like for volumetric capture and how it can be captured and what the post-processing speed is like and that type of stuff. But the animation or digital twin creation process is fairly straightforward when it comes to an individual or person. You can take that LiDAR scan like the NBA was, generate it through processing, even on device to some degree now, but then refine it in the cloud and then export that directly into an entertainment experience or a selling experience or a bunch of other experiences. So there is a lot more to come. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, opinions, definitely throw them in the chat or reach out to me directly. If you're on a different platform, I apologize for poor stream quality, but we do the best that we can. So questions, always check out the socials, reach out and let me know your thoughts. And with that, I will see you guys on the other side.